The category is agreement or disagreement. How do you say it that you agree or disagree with someone? Okay, so let's make a basic distinction first. Distinction between agree with someone, and this is a common mistake, that's why. Let's get it cleared. Agree with someone and agree to someone. These are totally different things. This kind of way of using a verb with a preposition this is called as phrasal verbs. And with the change in preposition, the meaning of the phrasal verb changes. So the important distinction that we were talking about, that is of between agree to something, that means to follow or to abide by or to surrender, to surrender. Okay, so how would we use it? Well, let's say somebody's your superior in professional space, so you would have to agree to them. Yeah, you can also agree with them, but let's say he had to agree to her father's demands. So let's say some guy who wanted to marry a girl had to agree to her father's demands. So in the case of agree to, we know one thing for sure, that one person is in a better position than the other. Alright? One person is in a better position than the other person. And that is how you agree to something or someone. So I had something is going on. Hold on a second. So you can say something like, I had to agree to take a salary cut. Okay. The management had had to agree to the workers' demand. So here it is clear that one party is in a better position. Now, if you say agree with, that means you're saying the same thing as the other person or thinking the same thing. That means you agree with someone. I agree with him that this movie is pretty good. I don't agree that we should skip lunch. Simple enough. Here, there is no superior or inferior. It doesn't have to be. So, now let's get back to doing what we do, that is to look at model sentences and look at their pronunciations and how one word or a set of words, how one sound flows into the other. That is our idea. Okay. Amen. Amen. Right. Amen complete. Amen complete. Like one sound. Amen complete agreement. Complete agreement. Agreement. T almost flows into agreement. Amen complete agreement. With him. Agreement with him. Am I pronouncing T? No. So it becomes I'm in complete agreement. Just stop here and don't really pronounce the T. Agreement with him. So instead of completely deleting it, what we are doing is we are adding sort of a blank space in between. I'm in complete agreement with him. So I'm pronouncing T, but it's so mild that it's almost inaudible. Yeah, you can't hear it. And with him, again, instead of saying with him, which is an extra verb, I'm just saying with him. Right? So we are joining sounds. That's our idea. Now as far as the idea units are concerned, I'm in complete agreement. You can be in complete agreement with anyone. Basically, if you delete this, I'm in agreement with him is one idea unit. Agreement, being in agreement with someone. Right? This is just another way of saying I have to agree to here. It's to, not with. Not with, to. I have to agree to, and that is why have to. That means must. It's compulsory. I have to agree to his plan. So how are you going to sing it? I have to agree to. One idea unit. I have to agree to. I have to agree to his plan, his proposition. I have to agree to his proposition. Something that you propose. Yeah. I have to agree to what he says. What he says. Yeah. One sound. What he says. I have to agree to his whims and fancies. That means quirks. That means weird things, strange things that people do. Strange habits. Yeah. Strange habits. Unique habits. Some people wear left shoe before the right, things like that. Some people have a particular way of eating, a place which is their favorite place, things like that, whims and fancies. Next sentence, I have to disagree. To this flows automatically. I have to disagree. Now the trick is you need to practice these word combinations so that it automatically comes out of your mouth without much effort. That's why we are calling it model structures or paradigm structures. That they are basically units that you can, like components, you can slot them anywhere in any sentence. I beg to differ. To differ. I beg to differ. Arm. Arm. I'm offer. I'm offer different. Am I saying T? Different opinion. In this case, I am saying T. I'm of a different opinion. Why? Because the next sound is not a hard sound. But you can say, I'm of a different opinion. That means you can drop T and just stop at different opinion. Got it? So you can do both of these things. The idea is whatever is comfortable for you. I would like to. Now this is something that can be used very often. I would like to. When you want to express some kind of desire or want, you generally start with I would like to. I would like to. I would like to suggest a correction. You suggest a correction. Now is this sound flowing? Yeah. It's just O instead of A. I would like to suggest a correction to your proposal. To your proposal. That means you would like to tell them that you have something to correct. Yeah, you want to make some change. You want to make something better. Suggest a correction. Make something better. So this is just a way of saying it. I must concur with him. I must concur. Now here T can be very comfortably dropped. I must concur. Why? Because both of them are hard sounds, t and k. So you can stop at sir. I must concur, and you can also drop r or pronounce it extremely mildly, very very softly. I must concur. The stress is here. Concur. I must concur with him. Again, with him. I must concur with him. Which means that you agree with someone or you second their motion or notion or statement. Second their, I would like to second his motion or I would like to second him. That means say the same thing as the other person has said. That's all it means. It's just a way of saying it. I must concur with them means you're saying the same thing as the other person. I agree. Agree that flows naturally. I agree that he has superior intellect. The stress is on lect. Intellect. Superior, stress is here. Superior. I agree that he has a superior intellect. Oh, is missing here. Has a superior intellect. I agree that he has a superior intellect. That means he's much more intelligent. And you agree with that. I don't agree that he has a superior intellect. It's just the opposite. So any agreement or disagreement most conveniently can start with I agree with or I don't agree with. We must not agree to this sort of tyranny. Tyranny means dictatorship, which is a very common word. That means a person wants you to do exactly what they are telling you to do. Okay? No changes. Tyranny. Tyranny. We must not agree We must not, you can comfortably drop T. We must not agree, we must not agree, not, either you can make this sound softer or you can keep the T sound, doesn't matter. We must not agree. We must not agree. That means under no circumstances, under no condition we should agree to. That means should bend or surrender. To this sort of tyranny. We must not agree to this sort of dictatorship. We must not agree to this sort of chaos. We should not give up. That means another word for it, to not agree to, is to not give in. That's another phrasal word. To give in means to surrender. So we must not give in. Or I had to give in. I have to, must, protest, to oppose something, to protest something. Yeah. So, pronunciation wise, I must protest. Again, T and P, hard sound. Both are hard sounds. And when they are next to each other, it becomes a bit of a blocker for a smooth speech pattern, and most of the native speakers will not really even pay attention, but they generally drop these hard sounds. That's how language works culturally. I must protest. I must protest. Protest your. I must protest your. So even here T can be dropped, the T sound can be dropped. I must protest your opinion. Your opinion. You can drop the R sound also. I must protest your opinion. Your opinion. You see how it is going from here to here. Protest your opinion. I must protest your opinion. Now I'm not saying you should say something like, in exactly this way, but what I'm trying to tell you is this can be done. And a lot of native speakers will have these kind of shapes of sound. Remember, shape of sound. And if you want to listen to a lot of media, a lot of news, a lot of interviews, to expand your vocabulary and sentences, yeah, because that's how children learn. That's how anybody learns language. You have to listen to a lot of usages first in order to create your own usages. So, you must know that this can be done. Even if you say, I have to protest your opinion, even if you speak like that, that's okay. That's your personal style. But nevertheless, still, you will know that something like this can be done. And when you hear someone skipping a lot of sounds, skipping over hard sounds, you don't find it surprising or odd, or it's not difficult for you to listen to them. And only then you'll be able to learn a wide array, a wide collection of expressions, right? Next, they aren't agreeing. They aren't agreeing. So here also you can drop the D sound. They aren't agreeing. You can also drop the R sound. They aren't agreeing. R here becomes very mild. They aren't agreeing to the workers' demands. Workers. If workers is plural and you have to use apostrophe, then if it is S, then you can use the apostrophe after S. That means if worker was singular and you're saying workers demand, a worker's demands, a particular worker's demand, then you can use something like this. But if it was plural, that means there were multiple workers, whose demands had to be met, then you can put an apostrophe here. Yeah, that's what they have done. So I have written it, so I have done. They aren't agreeing to the workers' demands. Do I have to agree to this? Now, the next thing you can do is you can think of real situations in which such expressions can be uttered. So imagine you're speaking to your friend and you're talking about someone, and and they are saying the exact same thing as you're saying, right? Maybe about a movie, about a person, about a skill set, about a job, and you're telling your friend, I'm in complete agreement with him. This job really sucks, or this job is really great. Depends what you're saying. So you have to imagine and then say it out aloud. Say this sentence as if you are actually saying it to a person in your own way. I'm not saying you have to be very rapid, very quick in uttering these sounds, not at all. The next stage is once you have understood the bridges between the sounds of words and the shape it creates, once you have understood that, then you have to basically create a database of sentences. And initially, if you practice with the written sentences, which you're gonna hear a lot if you're listening to a podcast or an interview or something like that. So first, get your speech organs very, very comfortable with these kind of speech patterns, and then it will be easy for you to repeat what the others are saying. So you have to first, and why I'm saying visualize it? Well, because if you don't visualize it, then it doesn't really, you're not really experiencing the flavor of the sentence that you're uttering. You're merely focused on words and not where it can in fact be used in a real scenario, in a real situation. So try to imagine that you are in a real situation and you're saying these words, these sentences essentially to another person. So try to practice them a lot.